I never saw it. I never actually see any sentence more than once. What do you actually fucking mean by that? I feel so bad. Why would you actually, disparage my perfect work where I only see sentence once? Oh my god, so gonna total lie you. This is really a passive one, and I sell both of them. The son of a same would not be, relevant. He's not really a serious killer, so he can definitely publish a book about it. There's no reason he should be present. Ha ha ha. This much too fast. Chinese consulate involved in... I'm really, really quacked. I just wonder how people would think otherwise. I can even actually compete with a real native speaker. Real, authentic one. Let's try to go. This was the original sentence, and my takeaway. Perfectly matching. Excuse me, one more. Why would you actually, in your mind, would you please not write that down? It's a Walmart. You know what? This dude walks into Walmart and the shoppers actually say, "Hey, what are you doing? You should actually wear a mask." And he actually got freaked out and he actually pulled out a rifle. Not really a rifle technically. But anyway, handgun, it might be. Probably he was actually concealing a gun. I don't know. The CDC unveils awaited guidance on school reopening. Sentence for disease. Disease prevention. Disease control and prevention. Je suis très désolée. Disease control and prevention. My mind's always the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention unmasks. Guidance. The original word was guidance. That's really similar to guidelines. The original words were guidance. Guidance cannot be pluralized. Long-awaited guidance. But if my memories are correct, can I just write down the original sentence? This is the meaning. But I really kind of remember the original sentence was really like the CDC unveils long-awaited guidance, not even reopening, guidance on school opening. I think, that was the original headline. I think so. Not even reopening, tell the truth. The original sentence inside in it, it doesn't even include a reopening. I kind of saw it. Yeah. I never actually missed anything. Oh, what have I missed? I mean, I just did a perfect job. Oh, it's really crazy. This really is that she already knew how tough this job is. She's a really unusual outlier and CEO of, the many ambitious and the greedy wild animals, wild creatures, right? That's a really indicative line. She was already threatened. Alright, don't you not actually think so? Slain. Poker player. It means you're gambling for life. A rare being. I want to say cool. She knew that what was coming. Yeah, definitely. Because, people are actually really driven to earn lots of money, but they definitely need to have, 24/7 security guard and bouncer for personal protection. It's impossible to leave. If you're actually, someone recognized a poker, you need to definitely hire a bodyguard. It's really impossible to survive. What am I missing? Excuse me, I didn't actually miss anything. But I was really correct. my first version was like the Centers for Disease Prevention and Control unmasked the long sought after. This is my second version. This is my meaning takeaway point, because some dude actually said, hey, you only actually remember the form without understanding the meaning, haven't you? No, I haven't thought about it, because you know what, it was really easy, I'm not lying. The CDC unveils a long-awaited guidance. I never actually had any mistake. I'm really perfect. You want to see? I'm not lying. Charlemagne the God claimed Biden for calling Donald Trump as a racist president. No, he's not. Just like Charlemagne in the French, the Charlemagne the Great. Is that one? Charlemagne slammed fascists and Biden for calling Donald Trump as a racist president. No, he's not racist president. We believe in like this. Interesting. Demanding the city to defund police and law enforcement. That's it. I'm really this much quick. But let me actually be much quicker than this. Anything. I think that's, the end of. What does that mean? Donald Trump again mocked a mayor of the city of Portland simply made a fool of himself. He truly embarrassed himself by joining and by being part of a protesters. That type of denigration of the mayoral title and a grace by simply jumping into the middle of a burning pot was nothing but a nuisance that definitely disgraced his mayoral honor. I mean, he actually looked like a fool, an idiot, from the perspective of Donald Trump. Made a fool of himself means, by simply he himself, as his mayor of the city, partook in that protest, right? Because he was actually part of the protests. According to the perspective of Donald Trump, that was indeed a stupidity. He says that as of now, he truly, by joining that maddening crowd, he truly looked like a fool, an idiot. It was nothing but a blunder that eventually cost his reputation and grace as a mayor. But that's purely Donald Trump's opinions. He says that at this moment. He opinionates that now. What else can I say about it? Kansas City, Kansas City. Kansas City. According to Kansas City Mayor, he was indeed dumbfounded up until the moment he found out the federal agents are coming to his city via Twitter. Until he actually hit upon a Twitter message, he had no idea whether these are federal agents that are going to be deployed to his city. According to Kansas Mayor right now, he speaks out. Can I just rewrite this? This is a original sentence, but I just want to clarify it in case you don't really understand. I don't know, not really. You can't say that. Even though you know when you can actually say that. Not until he stumbled on the newsfeed had he had any idea. Technically, if you really want to be much more grammatically correct, what can you actually do about it? That sentence. This is much better, right? Because when I was actually a little kid, I actually not until did he stumble. Like this is much better. I'm not lying. Federal agents were to be deployed, technically. Because that was, at the time, from the time's perspective, it was not done. So you have to say that not until did he stumble upon a feed on Twitter, he was unknown to, he was completely unknown. He was completely unknown to the fact that federal agents were to be deployed to the city. Like this. Just a pure research of paper. But I actually somehow managed to get a little bit of paper for it here in an old notebook. What does it mean? Listen, John Lewis, who just passed away, is about to have his wake in the U.S. Capitol. Because his casket will be displayed in the U.S. Capitol, where he actually served more than 3 years, right? And the next week, his commemorative ceremonies as a part of his funeral service that is to come, right, will be at least demonstrated in the U.S. Congress, right? That's what it is. The late John Lewis to lie. That means his body would actually stay in the U.S. Congress for. But, if you ever actually wanted to say that on the Hill, that's a better at the Capitol. But in this case, his body would be his casket and coffin would actually place it inside the Congress. That's really the real. Normally, actually, people say on the Capitol Hill. That's a very common expression. But it would be displaced inside the Congress. That's what it is about. What's the meaning? I don't really need to think about it. Yeah. But it was normally when you actually stay there on the hill, on Capitol Hill, but it will be placed inside the hill, the Capitol Hill as a building. And if you wanted to talk about the inner state of that Capitol Hill, lie in the Capitol Hill, it's so normally, if you ever actually wanted to standing on the floor, standing in the Capitol Hill, that would appear on the hill. But it's really unusual. The actual display and the demonstration of a casket and coffin will be placed very inner sight of the hill. I didn't miss a thing. You can even actually stay at the U.S. Congress at that. It's a fine. That's a fine. This is really the place where it is going to be laid down. It's a fine. No, I never agitated. That's not true. I never waited. It's really the same meaning. Ohio man who was seen kneeling down on 2-year-old boy. That means there was a 2-year-old boy, just like George Floyd. His body was, seized by a heavy man to kneel. Yeah, knee, This is really a patella, kneecap. And a knee is literally suppressing down. And this, indeed, it was a scene. The moment he was kneeling down on this boy. So currently, he's arrested. Can I just say that, if I ever... This is a original sentence. From my perspective, my takeaway is like this. arrested as of now. Like this. Am I getting it correct? I don't really need to think much about it. Oh, we're gonna throw. Trying to show him. Intellectual theft. This is really normally the echo of the voice across the cranial party, but there was a one lawmaker who actually severely reefs off this New York Times decision to publish an op-ed column, opinion editorial column, by a Chinese scientist who was now under a serious suspicion of conducting espionage and intellectual theft by actually working on behalf of the Chinese. Was that a Chinese? Liberation, People's Liberation Army. She had a certain formal affiliation. I'm not really so sure. Is this lady from the University of California, Davis Research Center? I don't know. I have to read it further. I don't want to actually go too deep in it because I haven't read it. Can you just stop it? It's not gonna work. No, it's not there. Apparently what's not there is not there. I don't think I have one. Let me actually go on. The sky's falling. I think brownies are crazy. What the heck is that? Bernie Sanders says that Joe Biden could be the most progressive president of the United States since Franklin Delano Roosevelt. Franklin Delano Roosevelt, if you ever actually remember, that he actually rescued the entire country from the Great Depression, and he was really the one who led the United States to at least, make it throughout the World War II. There were so many great things he has done, right? He was really the only president, and the last president served 4 terms. And after that, there was an amendment. Was that a 20th amendment? I think so. It's not 19th. 19th is about the females enfranchisement, voting rights, right? The 20th amendment, that truly clarifies the term limitation for any president serving the United States, right? It should be reduced into 2 terms, in total 8 years. Like, that's not really a majority of, but rather say a slew of Americans. Not really a majority. There's no. For the Second World War, later, Harry Truman was there to succeed him, right? But that's a different issue. So by the way, he's been actually known for the New Deal policy and the Tennessee Valley Authorization, and many of very progressive in the works. He truly rescued American people. The Tennessee Valley Authorization and the New Deal policy, those are all the pillars of this social network that eventually inspired Americans to be more progressive and welfare oriented, to think about the people struggling with economic devastation. But he was definitely called a socialist because of his trial to at least reshuffle the court by, cherry picking those judges who might actually favor the New Deal policy. Because there were lots of limitations to implement somewhat adopted policies from his administration, because there are a judicial branch and the legislative branch who might not actually favor these decisions by his executive branch. That was really the reason he was still very much contested by the Republicans, who actually perceive him of, those, conservative folks actually, had a tendency to perceive of him as a socialistic dictator, which is at some point really wanted to exert the greatest influence by belittling the checks and balances and the separation of the powers. And these type of fundamental principles of a democracy were greatly breached because of his lengthy assumption of the role as the head of the nation. Yeah. And after the 20th Amendment was adopted to secure that anyone who serves in office as a president of the United States, right? The nation. It should be limited to 2 terms, no more than that. There's no way, no how. It would be totally, it is totally unconstitutional. But can I actually go to my, I know, right now you have to do more. Oh, le Paris a remporté le Coupe de France. The Paris Saint-Germain carries a big victory in the Cup of France. It means the Paris Saint-Germain carries the championship cup for the French League. Le Paris a remporté la Coupe de France. That means it's a really victory for winning the championship league in the national soccer playing field, right? Is that really true? The Paris Saint-Germain carries the victory in the French Football League. Am I getting it correct? Remporter la Coupe en France. Yeah, I think so. NYC means seen headlocking at NYPD cop is met with a felony assault charges. Here, NYC Main filmed while placing an headlock. Placing an NYPD cop in headlock. That means you actually trying to use a wrestling skill. This is a headlock. You just use your legs to actually, just like a boa constrictor, wrap around to place someone's head underneath your body. It's really kind of choking technique, right? I kind of actually watch a Triple H type of wrestling. Is it true? Because there was some dude in our class who mentioned this headlock, I was thinking, what the hell is that? I heard her story. She was, by the way, a lady who was really into wrestling. Yeah, anyways, I mean, and there was a guy, who actually, somehow is busted for at least, applying headlock to an NYPD cop. Right now, he's charged with a felony assault. It's not really just regular assault. Felony assault is a very aggravated version of assault. Because you actually, truly had a very, malignant intention to harm this person by actually headlocking them. This is really a dangerous, lethal technique. That's really different from regular assault. I can guarantee that with my life. In full sentence, NYC man seen headlocking an NYPD cop is met with a felony assault charges that his attack on the officer is a film to testify the gravity of his crime. Because always a fractured one. It's not my fault. It's not my fault.